Hey there! Today we're going to be talking about the Edison Collier, and this is a special Collier. This is the Garolite, also known as Garolite. This is an interesting model. I had an Edison Collier for quite a couple of years. I'll talk about that a little bit in the next part of the video. I think this is a very fun pen. It is a larger pen. It's a pen that I think works for a lot of people. Also, the Edison Pen Company does really nice work, nice people to work with. They will really take care of you. So I thought this was a lot of fun. This pen was lent to me by Joost Appelboom of Appelboom Pennen. Do not forget the discount if you click the banner on the website. So it would be fun to check out this pen. Let's just dive in. Alright, here we go with the, I don't know why that's not focusing. Focus. Edison Pen Company limited edition Garolite Collier. And because it is Collier, I really wanted to say Garolite Collier. But I won't. It comes in a box, cute boxes. Edison Pen Company does nice work with those. You have the logo, which is the Edison light bulb nib thing. Box opens up, then you have an Edison Pen Company sticker, which I think is quite nice. You have an Edison Pen Company bookmark, which I also think is quite nice and quite colorful. And then you have the Edison, people call this a Christmas tree ornament. I think this is just another bookmark, but it's nib shaped. I think it's fairly cute. I really quite like it. I think it is nice, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So let's look at the pen. The pen is made of Garolite. Here is the pen. Here is the pen right next to a Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, it is a nice, slightly larger sized pen, but it is not as large as can be, because as large as can be is the Collier Grande. Now I said Collier, didn't I? The Collier Grande, which is a larger pen. I think it would be worth it for me to do a shootout between these two pens, but that is not today. The Garolite. So we have a laminated glass reinforced thermoset composite. In that sentence, I basically only know what the word glass means. People, sorry, it's been a long day. G10 is one type of Garolite. Some people think this is G10. If you are in the EDC community, you may remember G10 Garolite from knife handles, knife scales, like scales and pistol grips, that kind of stuff. It's a very interesting material. It's supposedly very, very strong, and I must say I quite like it. A long time ago, I reviewed the TWSBI Micarta. Micarta has a huge fan base, which I understand. It looks cool. But I don't like the feel of it. It has, if you've ever held it, you know what I mean. It has a specific texture to it. What I like about this, and I don't know if that's just the polishing of this pen being different from the polishing of that TWSBI, but this is much smoother. I don't know if it's psychological because I'm seeing this. I've got the feeling there is ever so slightly a texture, but for all intents and purposes, it feels smooth. So you really have to work hard to feel anything. And again, I think that's just a psychological thing. I think that is quite nice looking. These pens come in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad nibs, as well as 1.1 millimeter stubs. This is one of those 1.1 millimeter stubs. You'll see it in action in just a moment. The price of these pens at Appelboom, who sent it to me, is €239.67. That is without VAT. And don't forget that the code FRIEND can get you a 10% discount at Appelboom. So if you want one, and especially if you're overseas, no VAT and that 10% discount can make it hopefully quite attractive. It's a fun pen. So let's consider the parts of this pen now that we've had our overview. We'll zoom in a little bit. So on top of the pen finial, same material as the rest of the cap, looks quite nice. We have the exclamation mark clip Edison uses, which is nice, not too tight, not too loose. Again, the texture, I hope the camera is capturing it. It looks quite interesting. And then we have this sort of brown little center band there. And then we have the barrel. Again, same material, ends in the same material as well. I wonder if this material was used for section and that center band, because micarta, for example, stains. And if you dip this in ink when you use the converter, which is supplied, I'll show you in just a second, I wonder if this material would stain. So I've been very careful to keep, it's not my pen, right? To keep ink away from the barrel and the cap, at least the outside of the cap. I wonder if they put in this material to stop or preclude ink stains. By the way, the pen is a couple grams heavier than acrylic, so I mean, it's still pretty light. I don't know you would feel the difference, but it has a nice weight to it. Just because it's light, but just a little bit more to it than the acrylic. We have the nib, laser engraved with the Edison logo. These are Jowo nibs and plastic feed. And then in there also is the converter, filled here with a Robert Oster ink that was exclusive to the Dutch Pen Show. If you like posting, that's too bad, because this pen will not post. So don't expect that. It's a nice size though. I think this works for a lot of people, and I find it very funny that when I got my Collier many years ago that I ended up selling, I thought this was a really big pen. And if you then compare that to the Collier Grande now, then it really is not that exceptionally big a pen. But the advantage is, I think this is a size that works for many people. Nib is number 6, by the way, and on the Grande it's number 8. I think that was enough of my inane dribble. We should see how the pen writes, and that's what's coming up next. So let me zoom out the tiniest bit. Here we have the Edison Garolite Collier. This is a limited edition. It's a 1.1 millimeter nib, and it's a Robert Oster Brown. I want to say it's IJ. Sorry, Chaim. It's Dutch Brown, or it's a Brown. It's a joke. The organizer of the Dutch Pen Show's last name is Brown, which means brown. So brown ink, right? Anyway, doesn't matter. You are going to hear that the nib sounds a bit scratchy. And I can tell you that it is not, but I'm writing on the back of this sort of covered material. And that always makes them sound scratchier than they really are. So don't be distracted by that. It's actually a nice smooth nib. I have had no issues with it. It's just sometimes the camera mic really picks up that specific frequency. Fast writing. Goes well. You can see that it's starting to run a little dry, and that I think is simply because it's a 1.1 millimeter stub, and the feed seems to struggle a little bit to keep up with that. That's very, very fast writing though. If you do slower writing, better. Yeah, seems to keep up well. And as you can see now, it is back. It has replenished its feed, there's no skipping or anything, and it's really going well again. Okay, wetness. Fairly wet. Line variation, well, by nature it'll have line variation because it's a stub, right? So it's not super crisp, but it's not nothing either, and you can do fun things with that. Flex, I mean, these nibs are fairly stiff, especially the stubs I found are fairly stiff, fairly thick tines, right? Reverse writing, that's not really a thing. with a stub, that's just not, it doesn't really work. So you see it run dry very quickly, and it doesn't make sense. There's no round tipping to flip over, so that usually doesn't work. So there we have it. We now need to discuss what I like and what I don't like about this pen. What do I like? What do I not like about the Collier Garolite? I mainly like things. I think it's a very nice size of pen. As I've said a couple times now, I think this is a size of pen that works for a lot of people, and I think that is very nice. I think it's comfortable for a lot of people. I think the price is fair for what you get, this being a limited edition. I also think the craftsmanship on the Edison pens is very high, and if anything happens with your pen, the Edison Pen Company will take care of you. I know this because I've personally experienced this, where through no fault of the Edisons, the Greys of the Edison Pen Company, I destroyed the cap in my pen. I was sent a replacement. I was sent a couple of replacements to pick which one fit best. I sent back the other ones. All this was free of charge, not just because I have a YouTube channel, but they do that for all their customers. So this may not be an absolute rock bottom prize pen, but the level of quality is high and the level of care is high. And the fact that they take care of you, I think, is great, because not all companies do that. Overall, I mainly like it. I think it's nice. It writes pretty well. It's a comfortable pen. Of course, this was the 1.1mm nib. You could get anything you like. I like all that. Things I don't like so much on this one, the step down looks a little bit more pronounced to me. You probably saw that in the previous part of the video. I'm not sure how much I love that, but that's just me. Then again, for me, slightly larger hands, I would prefer I'm looking there because it's on my desk, the Collier Grande, and that might make the step down a little bit less noticeable for me because my fingers kind of cover the whole thing. Beyond that, that's it. I think it's, as I said, I think it's a great pen. I had a lot of fun playing around with it. So there is all that. I hope this was useful. Kind thank you to Joost for lending me the pen. I appreciate that, and that's all there's to it. Bye. And I'm glad to see you later.